Most arrogance is not malice. It is inexperience wearing the mask of confidence. And that mask is often necessary. Young people, in general, lack life experience. They just could not have lived through as much as someone who has gained the experience through age for the very first time, whether it be get started with their fitness journey or start a business or anything else, learn a new skill, a new hobby, anything. If they have not done it before and do not have any way to reach for the experience that they do not have, they need some amount of certainty. This certainty comes from experience. But before you act, you need some idea of what your next step is. And when you do not have this experience, that idea has to be borrowed, assumed, or copied from someone else. This leads to the approach of fake it till you make it. This faking is what gives the original impulse to start doing something. However, if this mindset persists, it runs the danger of never making it. Arrogance is manufactured certainty in the absence of experience. This is healthy given the fact that action or taking action does require belief. Experience is what provides belief, but beginners lack this experience. Thus, they assume certainty. As I've already said before, this is not evil, it is merely functional. And without a tiny bit of arrogance, most people would never reach for the fake it till you make it mindset and would never begin doing something that they've never done before. The real danger, however, begins when this manufactured belief, this faking it, turns into your identity. It is when saying, I want to become strong, and believing that you are someone who wants to become strong, turns into something like, I am already strong. This I see as a premature identity acquisition. This is where the pain starts. It leads to self-imposed delusion, assuming you already made it and no longer needing to improve. Well, congratulations. You have just successfully faked yourself into believing you already made it. There's a big difference between saying, I want to become strong enough to bench 2 plates, and acting like you already do. This is further exacerbated by perhaps publicly projecting this identity of yours, telling your friends that, yeah, sure, I've already benched 2 plates for a couple of reps yesterday and can't wait to do it again. This is where the issues start. When you haven't done the thing yet, but you start projecting the achievement of having done it, then eventually reality contradicts this projection. You receive a reality check. If it is with the bench example, someone asks you, yeah, sure, you are in the gym today, let's try benching. I've got 2 plates loaded, you can just warm up and hop on in. And then once you are squeezed under the bar, squealing for your life, you realize that the projection was not true. The reality does not correspond to what you claimed. It is only natural to think that we can do more than we actually can for our ego. Our ego naturally wants to grow, expand further and further beyond. And this expansion is almost always much faster than the accurate growth of our ability. Then, if we do not actively combat this ego expansion, then when we receive these reality checks, it feels quite painful. We feel humiliated and we feel this sort of shrinking feeling of losing something. The thing that we lost is actually the identity that we claimed. We believed we were someone who does bench 2 plates. And now we are forced to reconcile with the fact that we actually are not. Just because we went to the gym for 2 weeks and tried our best does not mean we are there yet. And it does feel humiliating. But the humiliation does not come from the mistake or misalignment with our actual ability and our projected ability. It comes from our identity collapsing. The reality check does not decide whether we grow from it or not. Our reaction and response to this reality check does. There are 2 main paths forward from this experience. It's either integration or defense. The first path of integration, in this option, you accept the information and recalibrate your self-image. You admit, I'm not there yet. I need more work. The second path is defense. You protect the projected identity instead of updating it. You blame the environment, you blame timing, other people, bad luck, anything except the actual gap between your abilities and the abilities you want to have and project already having. This is caused by many different things. One of the main reasons we default to a defensive reaction is identity rigidity. If we have just this one thing going for us and nothing else in the world, we will try to protect it and defend it as hard as we can. If lifting is the only place where I feel competent, correction in the gym will feel like an attack on my whole identity. But if lifting is one of many other things, just one part of a larger life, the correction is much easier to survive. Another thing is our prior experience, whether we were punished or for making mistakes or encouraged to learn from them. If your past taught you that mistakes are survivable, correction becomes much easier to integrate. However, if your past taught you that mistakes are punished, mocked, or used against you, it becomes almost automatic to defend your mistakes. It's like an instinctual response. And from this stems our feeling of psychological safety. What I mean by that is not comfort, but the belief that being wrong will not destroy you. Either socially, financially, or physically, nothing dramatic will happen if you are wrong. Then we can move on to public commitment. The more public you have been about your identity, the more people you have told that you are this person that achieved something you view as great, the more difficult it is for you to come to terms with the fact that you actually aren't, because it might feel embarrassing telling these people, yeah, I was not entirely honest with you. I wanted to be there, I did some things, but I was not quite there yet. This is also why people with audiences often double down when faced with these reality checks. They are not only protecting their own ego, but they are also protecting the character that they were performing as for their audience. And the larger the audience is, the more severe this impact might be. Sometimes the arrogance that you wear outwardly is not just scaffolding, it is armor, because it does protect you from some real consequences. Sometimes it gets you moving before you have the experience, but that is not always the case. This armor may protect you from pain, but it also protects you from growth. This fork in the road that I speak of does not appear once in every area of life. It appears again and again, every time reality shows up to check on us whether we are who we claim we actually are. This allows us an opportunity for growth, as well as an opportunity to take the defensive path over and over again. The repetition of defensive path runs the danger of slowly turning into personality. It hardens, and each time we choose to protect our comfort and our ego is a choice that we take not to grow. Slowly, over time, you become the kind of person who cannot be challenged. Not because they are so great, but because they do not tolerate anyone questioning whether they are. Because the questioning just might be a correct course of action. You will start avoiding arenas of exposure. Anything that somewhat challenges you becomes danger. You will start surrounding yourself with affirmers, yes men who protect you from this correction. And you start turning cynical towards people more competent than you in these areas of interest. You start telling yourself that they had daddy's money, or they got lucky, they used someone else along the road. Anything but admitting to yourself that it is you that is the issue and you need to put in more effort. Eventually this turns into shrinking world of you pushing anyone that may threaten you away, and you turn inwards, bitter and angry at the world. This does not happen automatically or immediately. This identity hardens over time, and every defensive reaction brings you one step closer to becoming the thing that people recognize as arrogant. Arrogance is the armor, and it does protect you from many things. Not just the pain and hurt to your ego, but also from growth, both in competence and in character. And if you care about becoming better, you have to learn to take that armor off and put it down. Luckily, as I've said before, the fork does repeat. The growth that I speak of does require constant recalibration, but it does not need to be some dramatic event, some huge failure, something that we might view as humiliating. Luckily for us, those might be some small, voluntary, regular corrections that will help you get through getting into your own way. You do not need to wait for reality to humiliate you. You can choose tiny corrections before life forces a brutal one on you. If you seek feedback early, you can admit the gap early, and you can correct the course early, thus saving yourself a lot of hurt, pain, and appearing arrogant along the way of your life. You need to choose this discomfort of correcting course if it is to take place, and replace your arrogance by accurate self-image and identity projection. To sum it up, arrogance gets you moving. Experience then exposes the gaps in the arrogance, and growth comes from choosing the discomfort of facing reality over the comfort of remaining the same. That is the choice. Make it before reality makes it for you.